Welcome to our podcast.
Ooh, our podcast. That's
Today it's
good.
our podcast.
Our podcast.
I know normally it's Sisterhood Podcast.
Yes.
And then it's Manpower Podcast.
Love it.
But now it's Together.
That's right.
So today it's a Christmas season.
I love
I do
Christmas.
too. I love it too.
The only problem with Christmas is I wish it was like 3 months instead of 1 month.
Well, we're so busy during Christmas,
Yeah.
especially around here, and have been obviously our whole lives since all of our kids and everything. But you almost feel like you miss so much of it because you're running so fast.
I know, because you want to enjoy it, and you are enjoying it, but that's the way it is. When you enjoy something, it flies by.
Well, so let me stop and let us welcome everybody listening and watching to Sisterhood and Manpower. We call this
Welcome.
Together when we do it together. So Merry Christmas. Welcome.
Yeah.
Glad you're here with us. Today, I want us to talk about traditions.
I love traditions.
And this is obviously a season of traditions.
Yeah.
So it is Christmas. So we've been talking about Christmas movies and food and all kinds of stuff. So let me just start with asking you a question, and if you want me to answer it, I will too. But what is like your very favorite thing about Christmas? What is your favorite thing about Christmas?
Oh, my very favorite thing about Christmas is that basically the whole world is celebrating Jesus, whether they admit it or not.
Yeah,
And so the fact that we get to take a month and don't even want to just say our Christian beliefs, but the belief is so in the front of every stage of the world. And
Yes.
so it just does my heart warm that everywhere I go that I see people celebrating Jesus like he should be celebrated every day of the year. But it's just so fun to watch.
Now, if I had to guess your favorite Christmas tradition or your favorite thing about Christmas, I would almost say it has to be the tree. If we're just going to talk about like the
And the lights.
tangible,
Yep.
like, because you are always about the tree and fixing something on the tree and adding something to the tree and maybe a little more lights on the tree. And what is it you told me about the tree that we've had the last few years?
Oh, yes. Okay, so lights in the tree really are. In fact, a few years ago, I was missing the snow because I came from Oklahoma. And so we went out to a tree farm, and there was a tree that was flocked and lit. And this woman does like the little, what is it called? The little, it's not glitter, but the iridescent little things she does all over.
It's
So
like
pretty.
shimmery looking stuff.
So it literally looks like real snow.
it does.
And so I saw it and I almost cried. I think I was just in one of those Christmas moments. And so you surprised me and got it for me. And that literally was my favorite present that year.
But it was a real tree.
It was a real tree, and it was just beautiful. And so during COVID, which, the whole world was wonky during COVID, we were sitting on the back porch, and there came a sale, and you said, oh my gosh, should I say the name? Balsam Hill has a half price special. And I was like, oh, those are so expensive. We can't get that. So they were marking them way down because I think they were just really needing to sell some stuff. So in July, we bought a Christmas tree.
I talked you into buying a fake
Yes,
tree.
that was pre-lit. Oh, you don't have to buy it every.
Pre-lit.
Oh, it's so wonderful. And so literally you can drag it out of the attic. You can put 1, 2, 3 together and it's already lit. You just plug that sucker in and,
I love it.
you love it. And I love the fact that you love it. But this morning I was thinking about.
I knew there was a caveat to this.
Yeah, so I get up early and I do read and pray, but then I have a lot of dialogue in my brain about the way things should be and the way they are. And some of it's really good, some of it's horrible. But, that one dialogue we were talking about that the people wanted to cancel church except for one time a year, and it really aggravated me. I mean, one time a month, sorry.
Yeah, they were going to cancel all their services
Yes.
except maybe get together once a month.
Once a month they were getting together. Then other than that, you can watch the internet or go to people's homes, which I'm sure their hearts were pure about it. But I just felt like it was breaking tradition of the church of God. And so anyway, so I was looking at my Christmas tree and I was thinking, my tree is perfect. It looks perfect. And it really is cheaper if you just have to buy one tree for
One time.
all those years. And you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about lights. So I thought it is cheaper and it's easier. But it's not right. It's not quite right.
Not quite right.
And the beauty of the living tree, the Christmas tree, is I was thinking this morning, some branches are broken and some can't hold enough of the ornaments. But in all the glitter and all the glory, it's just alive, and you have to water it, and it smells.
I was going to say the smell. I miss the smell of the Christmas tree.
And so I was just super sad. And the fact that that's the way the church is.
I'm going to go get some evergreen spray.
Oh,
And I'm going to spray your tree down
No.
for the rest of the Christmas season. No?
No, we did get a fix to it. We do the live garland, and it has
Yeah.
that live smell. But I just felt like that was just such a God moment, that it was like, sure, it's easier and it is cheaper, but it's not alive. And the live things cost more and take more energy, but they're more beautiful.
Well, what we've seen over the years, and we'll be married 34 years this year. We have 5 kids. Now we have, 2 of our kids are married. We've got grandkids.
Yeah.
But what we've done throughout our life is we've always set these traditions in place, is what we've tried to do. And so, you think throughout the year, I mean, and everybody listening, watching, you have different traditions that you set in your family. But for us, Christmas is a time where we've really set some traditions. And really, traditions are these big rocks.
Right.
And we talked about, we were meeting with our staff earlier today, and we were talking about next year, the calendar. And we even said, we're going to put the big rocks on our calendar. These are the immovable things. These are the things that we know that every year, without fail, these are the marks that we're going to hit, the traditions that we're going to have. And so for us, we've got a long-standing practice of this Christmas tradition in our family. I mean, it was the other night we were together with some friends of ours, and everybody knows that Dan and I have been friends since we were 15 years old. And Dan goes, man. He goes, I wish people would let Thanksgiving be Thanksgiving. And Christmas be Christmas. Everybody bleeds over. And then several other people that were there were like, oh, no, we put our tree up in October. And I'm like,
it's like, no.
Wait a minute. How can you do that? So it's funny. But, we know that everybody's traditions are different.
Right.
But I think there are some things that, you want to set into place. And they're tried and true.
Right.
They teach and train. That's really what traditions are for. And, as Christians, we have traditions in our Christian faith. And these are things that we don't practice them out of fear. We literally hold on to them by faith.
Right.
And I think, obviously there's some funny things. I mean, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Well, what is the story?
Is it the Nativity?
No. Oh, I love the Nativity.
You do love that one.
But it's the really crazy one where he licks the pole and all that. What's the name?
Gosh, A Christmas Story.
Yeah, A Christmas Story. I thought it was a story, and I was
You'll
like,
shoot your eye out.
shoot your eye. Because it's just so funny that it's a crazy family, but they love each other. So they love, all of them love each other, but it's just a mess. But they celebrate.
You like the little brother because he snorts like a pig and
He
eats
snorts, and the mama laughs at him all the time.
So the baby
funny.
is always...
And you always get a gift from someone you don't like, and they portray that. And so it's just the snow and the tradition, no matter what it is in your family. It kind of tells the story great in that movie.
We watch all the movies and stuff, but one of my favorites that we've watched we caught the tail end of it the other night was I love It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
and then we love a more modern version of that movie, which is Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Love it.
And of course we're getting off down a road, but we want to talk today for a few minutes about.
But wait, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Favorite Christmas song? You're laughing at me like I should.
No, I don't know. I just want to know. I just
my favorite Christmas song. Mark Harris wrote that song "Strange Way to Save the World" years ago, and I've always loved the perspective of that song.
I love it.
So if I had to pick, just one of my favorite kind of like in my heart is "Strange Way to Save the World."
Yeah.
But I love all that. I love the Christmas station. In fact, Caroline and I, we'll get in the car together now. And when Caroline's in the car, Caroline's our daughter. When we get in the car, I go straight to the Christmas station and we listen the entire time we're in the car. We sing, we laugh.
Yeah.
She knows all the words to all the Christmas songs. Because talk about a big deal. Christmas is
she has a great memory
to Caroline.
Well, her and I, when we get in the car, we listen to Dolly Parton's Christmas album, Hard Candy Christmas.
Dolly Parton.
And literally a few years ago, and I wasn't even that hard of Christmas, but we would just, sing that song, Hard Candy Christmas. But that's all we're going to do is, go somewhere, dye our hair, and cry.
On our counter, on the counter at home, I saw it literally this morning. There is a Dolly Parton Christmas cookie set that you got for somebody.
She is the bomb in our household.
Dolly's killing it.
That woman, she kills traditions. She gives to everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, she gave like $1 million to the COVID thing,
yeah, to try to
and
get,
they
yeah,
tried to
yeah.
make a monument of her, and she said, "No way." And I was like, "Go, girl! That's who you are."
Well, I think I guess what I want to drill down into, we want to drill down into today a little bit is that traditions are just
Yes.
they really make us who we are.
They do.
You know, I think about, you and I just went to DC, Washington
Yeah.
DC not too long ago, and I think, like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I mean, just every
Yeah.
single day
Yeah.
without fail, it's just a message to the world about who we are, how we honor, and it's just.
Yes.
I remember sitting there with you, and I'd seen it many, many years before, and I remember the impact it made on me when I saw it. I mean, probably over 30 years ago. But when we sat there for those few minutes and watched those guys march back and forth to guard that tomb, I'm telling you, my heart, it soared for the honor and the tradition of how we hold things in high esteem. And, that's why you and I love Christmas so much. Just, you said it earlier, because Christmas is about Jesus. And, whether it's the lights, the trees, or the songs, or the traditions, or the food, it's something that's building in this. You might even say it's a habit.
Right. Yeah. But habits lead to a lifestyle, which leads to how you live your life, to be truthful. And so habits hold culture, habits build culture, and culture builds society.
Right.
And so that's one thing I noticed when we walked around Washington, D.C. After just building this building, we realized how much time and planning it took for years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then you look at these enormous buildings in Washington, D.C. that are laid with marble and scriptures all through there. And it's like every building it's just literally a monument to this is how we think about this. Everything from commerce to, all these different buildings. And
it does not change.
No. And so the building just says it, and it outlives all of us. And so those traditions in Washington and of America, one nation built under God is great.
Well, hopefully, and I don't know how it is with your family, but with our family, as the longer the tradition has stood, and we're talking about Christmas, obviously, because we're right in the middle of Christmas. The longer the traditions stand, they tend to get bigger. They get better. I think about the Rockefeller tree, the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center. Now, we've been to New York. It's one of our favorite places to go. But, that tree wasn't always that big.
No.
and it wasn't always that ornate or that many lights. But what's happened over time is they laid a foundation that this will be a tradition. And so I think what we want to communicate today in this podcast is that right at Christmas, maybe you're a young family. Maybe you're not a young family. And maybe you have established some of those traditions in your lives, but maybe this is a season right now to start a tradition, And so we want to just kind of talk about what traditions do and kind of give you an idea today, just from our perspective about what they are. So let's share a few ideas about traditions.
Well, really, the first thing is traditions set priorities in place.
Right.
And so with the world being the way it is now, and people go so fast and have so much influence, that we need to always remind our family of what the priorities are. Like we talk a lot about getting to church every Sunday.
Right.
So you're telling your family by getting up and getting the right shoes on little Johnny and getting everybody's hair braided, you are telling your family with great action and effort, this is a priority in our family.
That's exactly right.
And so when you take the time to decorate the inside of your house and the outside of your house and meals and presents, that marks a child's memory like unbelievable.
Right.
And you're saying this is a priority in our family. This you set it in place by doing those things.
This is what we do, and what we do says who we are.
Exactly.
And I think, in the world today, it's just so chaotic and so constantly changing, constantly moving. It's hard to keep up with technology. It's hard to keep up with culture. You can't keep up with fashion. The stuff that was fashionable 30 years ago is fashionable again now. Think about it. But what we want to talk to people about today is really setting traditions in place, building priorities in your family. And we've tried to do that over the years. I mean, I think about,
you asked us what was our first tradition set in place. You asked me earlier. And I had to think, because we've done so many weird things, like put the little pickle on the tree, and the first person that sees a pickle gets to open the presents. But I went way back even before we had children. And it was just because it was in our heart that we decided to give baby dolls and basketballs to kindergarten class that we
Oh,
taught
when you're
at.
first when you're first
Yeah.
a teacher. Yeah, yeah.
And so you
was
came
right.
down there and we had them all wrapped. And so it was like that, seeing their joy was just so moving that's a tradition we never stopped. We didn't have the money then, but we just did it. And we, since then, as well as I do every year, but way before we were in ministry, we'd pick a family in our city and know that they needed help. And it's just been our biggest and brightest light at Christmas, even now for our children.
I remember the year that we decided it was an outreach that we were involved in, and our kids would go on the outreach with us. This is back when we lived in Tulsa, and we weren't in full-time ministry. We were just volunteering at the church, And one of the couple of sites that we were going to, we realized in Tulsa it's cold during Christmas. I mean, it's like in the 30s, 20s. I mean, it's cold. And we noticed on some of those outreach sites. And I'm not patting us on the back, but I'm just saying, to add to that tradition that you talked about, we saw that some of those kids did not have a coat. So we took all the kids and we loaded up and we went to Burlington Coat Factory.
Right.
You remember that? In Tulsa.
Right.
And it was remember the Dollar Theater was right around the corner. And we went in there and we got all the kids' sizes from the outreach site. And we bought every single kid on that outreach a coat. And our kids thought it was the craziest, most fun thing. Yeah. And so when you mark a season and a tradition like that, so I don't know what that looks like for somebody that might be listening. Maybe the Lord has spoken to somebody's heart that, hey, maybe there's a family in our world.
Right.
That you could reach out to,
but definitely make giving a part of your Christmas.
Yeah.
And giving outside of your family, giving. If you mark that as when your children are even young, that they grow up like that, they know it's not all receiving. It is receiving, but it is also giving. Because another tradition we have in our family is not so holy, but it's bingo. And
we have a bingo tradition. That's right.
And they will.
Now, obviously, we're not. Explain.
Well, we have the old-fashioned one. I did it
Right.
for the daycare team last night, and they all loved it. We do the little thing, and the ball shoots out. And
I don't know what that thing's called. It's
I don't know.
A tumbler or something.
I don't know, but it works. It's hilarious. But they will go to Fifth City over some if they didn't win Tide, or it's
because some of the gifts are better than others.
Oh, some of them are a big thing of coffee. Some of them might be $100 gift card. Some of them might be something really nobody wants, and they're aggravated they want it. But you don't know what you're going to get until you win.
I've never seen Christian people try to cheat as much in my life as some of the family members that we've had that have cheated at bingo to try to get whatever it was that was coming next.
Yes. It's been fun.
We try to check them too, because we go back through and check the letters.
Check.
But it's
we
it's
trust,
crazy.
but we verify.
So yeah, absolutely. Traditions. I love what you said. They set priorities in place.
They do. They set priorities.
And another thing about traditions, I think that we want to talk about for a minute is that traditions, they set things in place, but what does it set things in place for? For the future.
Right.
So traditions set things in place for the future. And time was marked, obviously.
Right.
By the coming of Jesus. Here we are celebrating Christmas,
everything.
and literally God split time wide open.
Yes.
BC before Christ, and AD after he came. And so, that first Christmas set the stage for the future of humanity.
Yep.
And, I don't ever want us to lose sight of the fact that that's really what Christmas is about. And all this month we've been talking about hope. And, I said just even last Sunday, I said, there's some things that you want to stay in hope. I believe there are some foundational things that you have to put into your life.
Right.
You can call them traditions. Right. They would be Christian traditions, not just Christmas, but Christian traditions of spending time in devotion to the Lord. You talked about reading the Bible in the morning, spending time in prayer, getting the right people in your life. And of course, you mentioned earlier, making church a priority in your life and in your family. And when you do that, it shapes not only your culture, it shapes the culture of your family, but it does it because we want to leave a legacy. We want it to go beyond us. And that's why we're doing this. I mean, you and I, right now we're thinking generationally more than we ever have. Because now that some of our kids are married, we have grandkids. I mean, it's so fun.
So fun. But, when you think about shaping culture, America has become a country of many cultures.
Yes.
And so we want to love everyone. And, I would never be mean to anyone, but I want my family to know our traditions
Right.
and be very loud about them. So we went and ate some Chinese food earlier, and very good food. Very clean place. I always look around to see if it's clean.
You do check it, don't you?
But they had two big monuments of whatever the god was. I don't know.
Is it Buddha, I think is what
But
it
they
was?
had two of them. It's like a husband and wife Buddha or something. It was
Oh,
interesting.
wow. I've never seen the
I
husband and
know.
wife Buddha.
I,
Buddha
you know,
and Budina?
I think it was. But they were side
We're
by
obviously
side.
offending the Buddhists right now. Sorry.
They were side by side, and I was like, I like that, but I don't like that. But anyway, so that is their culture. But then we went right into the next story, and I was almost thinking, you know what, Christians need to be as loud. You know how I love
I
a good
know.
nativity. So we go in the next store,
Right.
and they had a nativity, like 3-foot tall nativities and like 2-foot camels, and I
Almost
was like,
life-size.
that's the
Yeah.
way to go.
Well, the guy even told us people will see the nativities and
Yes.
literally say, they'll come in and go, that's amazing. Is
But
that for
I just
sale?
saw one that was their
Yeah,
culture,
yeah.
and this is our culture, but it also is our holiday. Christmas is our holiday, and so we should be very bold, very loud, very proud, and very glorious in how we celebrate
I'm
it.
going to read a scripture from Thessalonians that is so powerful about
good.
traditions. So listen to this. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:15. It says, therefore, and remember, I always tell the church, when you see the word therefore,
Yes.
you need to
Yes.
remember what it's there for. Paul says, therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which you were taught, whether by word or by epistle.
Right.
So, culture should encourage one another, like hopefully and prayerfully, our kids, their kids,
Yeah.
we're setting these traditions in place of Christmas, of Thanksgiving, of gathering around the table, and all those other Christian traditions that we have.
Right.
And hopefully it's setting the tone for houses that will be lit to the glory of God, trees that will be decorated, gifts that will be given, and all the traditions that come around Christmas, that it'll all center on who Jesus is,
Right.
why he came, what he did, and how we can experience that life in him. But it's our traditions that set those things.
That's right. And the other thing I love about traditions, because I love children, and it's
Yes.
just my heart to always show children the way. But traditions light the way for little ones.
It's what some people may not know about you. And if you don't know Tracy very well, if she walks into an environment, I don't care where it is, even in the world. It happened when we were in Africa. It's happened when we've been in Haiti. It's happened in Guatemala. And it certainly happens here. Kids your heart is kids, but they flock to you. It's amazing.
Well, because if they know you love them, they do that.
guess that's
Love
what it
just
is. Yeah,
draws.
yeah.
But literally, as we do traditions, no matter how big they are, little they are, it catches their interest.
Right.
And to be truthful, if you do it in a loving way, it will even outlast you.
Right.
And so we hope that we're doing things that will outlast us, and they will carry them on long onto all the generations ahead. And so I also believe that our way of life show children the way of life.
Well, that's good.
And so the way we live in an everyday sort of way, but especially at holidays, it just makes us all stop and say, this is who we are, kids, and this is what we celebrate, because this is what we believe, and we want you to carry it on. And so the what we put on it, the weight that we put on it, and the time we put on it, it speaks so loudly. Children never forget it. And it's very, very powerful. I talked to the daycare team last night and talked to them about how never feel like you're less than because you work with children. Because remember in Matthew 18, they were all saying, who's the best? Who's the biggest?
Who's the greatest? Yeah.
And Jesus, I could just see him telling some little kid with freckles to come over here and stand. And he said, see this right here?
Yeah.
This little child's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Yeah. And how you treat them is you're treating me. And so I think he said everything he needed to say, that literally the children are the future. And so as we pour into them with all of our love and all of our excitement, then they will carry it on to the next future. And it's just God's heart. And so I just pray that people, in all the buying and struggling and decorating things that are part of tradition,
Right.
that you do just laugh. That you make some hot cocoa and toast and just sit down and just have fun with it. Don't make it a dread, but make it an enjoying process. And then the love that you put in it will outlast you, and they'll be doing it for many decades.
Endure Christmas.
No.
Enjoy Christmas.
Right.
engage in traditions.
Have fun with it.
Before we close, I want to remind everybody that I think one of my favorite things so far about this Christmas, because you're talking about kids right now and how just it lights the way. Our traditions light the way for little ones. Don't you love our new tradition of bringing that humongous Christmas tree into the church and putting it up? And then at Christmas at South Coast this year, we lit the tree.
And it's a real tree.
It's a real tree. Our lobby smells like Christmas. What's
awesome.
great is the kids have loved.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see kids walk in, they point the tree, the lights. And so we want to mark people's hearts for Christmas. Yeah. And so I don't know what your traditions are for Christmas. I know that I love ours. I love that on Christmas morning we get up and we read the Christmas
Christmas story.
story.
We love candlelight here.
We love candlelight service.
Yeah.
So we have some longstanding traditions, not only in our family, but in our church. Yeah. But hopefully this conversation today is some kind of a catalyst or an encouragement for somebody to go, I think this is the year that we need to start a new tradition. Because by the way, it's not too late. Christmas is not over yet. Christmas is a celebration all year long because of who Jesus is. But what if in the next few days, as we approach Christmas, you really just ask the Lord, what's something that I could do in my heart and in my life and with my family to really celebrate and to set a tradition? So
it'll be wonderful.
By the way, what are you getting me for Christmas? Do you know? Do you already know?
I already know.
You already know? I know what I'm getting you to. And by the way, Merry Christmas. I love you.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to y'all. Thanks so much for joining us today. God bless you.
Yeah.
Hope to see you soon.